Romans 8:35 says, "Will trials or distress or persecution or famine or sword separate us from the love of Christ?" Those things certainly won't separate Christ from us, but they may separate us from Christ if we're not careful. When we live through hard things that we don't see coming, or we have to endure long periods of trials, we lose heart. When we are treated harshly or even rejected because we've taken a stand for something that we believe is truth, it causes hurt and even isolation. These things begin to take a toll and wear us down, and as a result, we let our guards down. And that is exactly the moment when Satan begins to whisper, "God doesn't love you. If he loved you, he wouldn't allow you to suffer. You're worthless. Why should you try? It won't work." If we let these lies take root, they will slowly turn our eyes away from Jesus. It takes courage to keep your wedding vows. It takes courage to work with integrity in your workplace. It takes courage to raise your children or your grandchildren in the midst of a godless culture. When every voice around you screams, "Compromise, surrender, take the easy way out," it requires bravery to stand for the truth of God's word. Standing firm on truth in a culture in which we live is challenging and many times leads to negative consequences. But Jesus reminds us in Matthew 5 that we are blessed when we are persecuted for righteousness' sake. It can be difficult to see how facing rejection for standing on the truth is a blessing. And that's when we have to see that choosing God over everything else is better. We have to believe that God's plan is the best plan, no matter what our circumstances tell us. In this same passage, Jesus also tells us to love our enemies and to pray for those who persecute us. These things require serious courage. We need to be brave to pray for those who hurt us. Our human nature is screaming at us to do the exact opposite, isn't it? We want to fight back, we want to get the last word in, or we want to seek some type of revenge. But Jesus calls us to be brave and to love back. Jesus calls us to love like he loves, to love the unlovely, to love the less deserving. This may seem impossible, and in our own strength, I can tell you it absolutely is. But if we press into Jesus and allow him to do things in and through us that we can't do, he is made glorious. We can stand boldly for what is true. We can choose to forgive. We can live with integrity. We can live and love like Jesus. This week, we're going to be looking at several verses that are going to remind us that God is with us, that he is the stronghold of our lives. And when we place our trust in him, through him, we are more than conquerors. Through him, we can be brave in the midst of persecution. So let's live boldly and love greatly this week.